J.J. Redick moves, Jordan Crawford moves, so does Eric Maynor, but Josh Smith, he's still an Atlanta Hawk. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort, here to talk about what happened and what didn't happen at the NBA trade deadline. Our NBA writer, Sean Devaney. So, Sean, we did have a few moves. Which would you say was the biggest of the moves that were made? Which team helped itself the most here?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot done, that's for sure. So, you have to look for the little things. Obviously J.J. Redick going to Milwaukee with his shooting being plopped into that team, I think that's a good addition for them. That he's a guy who can space the floor out for them, make some three-pointers, and that's something that they needed. So, I think that's probably the big deal here. You'd have to go back to the Rudy Gay deal that sent him from Memphis to Toronto. That was 3 weeks ago, so not exactly a deadline deal, but that was probably the biggest of all the deals. But certainly today, Milwaukee comes out as a team that probably helped itself the most. I think Portland getting a bench guy in Eric Maynor, that helps. I think Oklahoma City bringing in Ronnie Brewer from the Knicks, that helps them as well. But again, these aren't the kind of guys who are going to completely remake your franchise.
Okay, a lot of talk about Josh Smith leaving the Atlanta Hawks. He is going to be a free agent at the end of the season. He did not get dealt. Why do you think that is, and what impact does that have? Are there any reverberations from that?
Yeah, certainly he's going to be the number one or among the top few, at least, available free agents. You're going to have Chris Paul and Dwight Howard. I would expect both of those guys to stay with their current teams, though. But Josh Smith would then become sort of the number one guy in terms of, all right, who do we want if we've got cap space? So I think for teams like Dallas, teams like Houston, that's going to be a real consideration. And even Atlanta, there is an outside chance that he winds up staying in Atlanta after all this. As far as why he didn't, that's the reason, is that, he's going to be a free agent. So teams were reluctant to give up too much for him, including a team like Milwaukee or Washington or Boston. You don't want to give up too much for a guy who isn't going to stick around very long. If you're a team like Houston, why trade for him now if you can just sign him as a free agent in the summer?
Now, we kind of knew as we got heading up to today, it did feel like there wasn't much that was going to happen other than maybe Josh Smith. But which team do you think might have missed out on a chance? I know there were some deals discussed, Kevin Garnett maybe leaving the Celtics and going to the Clips. Was there any team that you felt missed out today?
Well, I thought that the Nets might do something, and, they're in a situation where they'd like to sort of reconfigure the roster to get themselves, into as good a position as they can to try to make a run and sort of legitimize themselves in their new home in Brooklyn. Obviously the Celtics, you mentioned Kevin Garnett. This was one of the opportunities that Danny Ainge is going to have, and he's going to get fewer and fewer as he goes, to cash in on Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce or possibly even Rajon Rondo. So, I think that for Danny Ainge, he really has a fine line to walk between, riding it out with this team and wanting to set it up so that it's not terrible in the future when these guys retire. Over in the Western Conference, probably, I would say Utah is one that stands out. They've got some good young players they want to get more playing time for, and they've got prominent free agents, but no major move.
All right, there you go. Well, listen, Sean, thanks so much. Not too much to talk about, but you broke it down for us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.